can mean two different things. It depends what you have in front of you. Some people, if they have some person who aggravates them and they go forward, although they feel uncomfortable, it means you're back. You'll like a good fight, and you will face them. I'll give an example of where I would worry somebody's going forward. I had a guy in the clinic last year who was an excessive smoker, like really excessive, business owner, and when I done the Eddie Motor movement, and I put in front of him, I put a future of illness, of family going through a hard time. I put cancer there, I put hospital beds, drips, the whole lot, chemotherapy, and he went forward into it, and he started laughing, and I says, that's not funny, because underneath your subconscious mind has developed the belief that you need to suffer. And he broke down, he started crying, and he had a big guilt complex, this man, for years. Had been beating himself up, putting himself down, and the non-analytical mind doesn't question anything that you tell it, had installed a belief that he was guilty because he was a bad person, and that he deserved that pain. So it had to be all reversed. Okay? Because that part of your mind can make you really healthy, boost your immune system, or can make you unhealthy and can really suppress the immune system. Yeah, very important. Everybody has subconscious mind. A lot of people aren't aware of it or the rules of it. My job, I really call my therapy conscious awareness therapy. I introduce you to it, and then I give you some rules on how you can make it your friend, build some rapport with it, because it's, it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can be your best coach on the day of the performance, or it can be an enemy in your corner. Yeah, so very important. And most of you know me, I grew up in boxing, cross-country running, martial arts, and I always just focused on the physical. Sort of tapped into this a bit. Wasn't well known when I was younger. Once I get into the mental aspects, and again, sports psychology will only look at the conscious everyday mind, which can do about 5 things at once. It's very analytical, it becomes critical, it overanalyzes, and it forgets things. It can't control your emotional centre. It can to a certain extent, but it can't reprogram it. Subconscious mind, that's who drives the bus, not this mind, the smart aleck mind, as I call it. Okay? So it communicates to us through feelings as well. A good example, even with, and you would see it in the yoga, if you're teaching somebody some of the new warrior poses on one leg, and they're switching. I seen a documentary on TV. It was Liverpool Football Club, and they brought a yoga teacher in. Now, these are Premiership footballers, and they couldn't even stand on one leg. They probably had the ability, but because it was new, the brain had them in the first stage of learning conscious incompetence, where everything felt a bit dyslexic. That feeling of confusion and stress will bring about, I can't do this, I'm falling, yeah, giving themselves that suggestion. And we all, as I say, the first stage of learning is just a feeling as well. It's a feeling of confusion, of stress, and that's why most adults, when they get older, they'll only try something 3 times and say, I can't do that. Yeah? But you don't get good at anything 3 times. I know a lot of people who've done their driving test twice and never tried it again. So it's going back to the strategy of when you were learning how to walk as a child. That feeling of discomfort may have been there, but there was no fear of failure, because you don't know failure exists. There's only results, there's only practice, progression, and pleasure. Yeah, and people around you who's following you, and giving you that sense of achievement, recognition. Every time you do something well, somebody's clapping and telling you you're brilliant. But when you get older, nobody does it. And then you think, well, why am I putting myself through this? So you have to do that yourself. But again, we'll go into more of that tomorrow. Today's session was just about making you aware of how important it is that you get your mind right, especially before you do something that's very, very important. Some big event, or you have to cope with something. Again, it's using coping skills, because outside our sport and our activities, there's other things happening in life as well, and it can affect you. You know, if this man or woman here is a professional athlete and they have a row with their partner, or maybe one of their parents pass away, or somebody in the media is picking on them, that will affect their whole game. And we've seen this time and time again. There was, on YouTube you can see a professional boxer had a total mental meltdown in the middle of a world title fight, and he started crying in the corner. He just put his hands down. So all these, they affect each other. If I'm in physical pain, I will feel mentally down. If I haven't been training or have muscle imbalances, again, it will affect me mentally. If I have high levels of stress, my body will not assimilate the nutrition, and again, it will sedate the muscles. So they're all interlinked. This is how we are made up. But I would put this at the very top. This will affect everything that we do, as you just experienced. Has anybody any questions so far on this? Somebody has to have a question. Is following it okay? Does it make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, and even when you know this stuff, you have to keep going back to what we're going to cover tomorrow. You'll have to keep going back to the basics, the fundamentals, to the basis of where confidence and a sense of achievement comes from. Because that's what we'll look at tomorrow. Confidence, and it's the first feeling that comes in to the body when you want to move forward, when you want to go towards an achievement or overcome an obstacle. So if you ask me to do anything, if you ask me to make a cup of tea, the first feeling that will come in is, am I confident that I can do it? Well, yes. If you ask me to wire up this room for lighting, there's a feeling of, I can't do that comes in. I don't believe I can. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you have in front of you, whether it's an opponent, a game, some sort of obstacle in your life. The first feeling is, can I do that or can I not do that? If it's something you need to do and you need to be at your best, then it's your job to change the feeling of I don't know to a feeling of yes, I can do this. And a true feeling of confidence. Confidence is not, a lot of people in Northern Ireland say to me, does that not mean you're cocky? Confidence is just a feeling inside telling you that you can do it. It's a feeling of strength and comfort and stability. It's not being cocky, that's a false confidence. Okay. Did you see a lot of teenagers have and everything they do. So all you have to do if you want to keep going up, keep going forward in life, the only thing that's going to hold you back is a feeling. You might think it's out there, it's in here. So this is personal power. For you to change your own state, for you to move forward, for you to be at your best. Because if you are somebody who's competing, you can't do more than your best. Nobody can. And I don't think it's fair if you've trained, you've put thousands of hours, days, weeks, months and years into the practice, and then you get to the final event and it just all falls down. Everybody should have a right to be at their best. when they want to be at their best, when they're actually competing. Okay? And this is all so a lot of you know me, 18 years musculoskeletal work. I just focus mostly on the mind, and especially the subconscious mind, because that's what makes all the changes. Something I'm studying, I sleep my work. 12 years I'm doing this, and I still don't know everything about it. It's so deep, and you always come up against different challenges. I've worked with athletes who have had to go into what you call PART therapy, where their subconscious mind has developed another personality within them that is actually pulling them back and holding them back. It can get a bit complicated, but it can be negotiated with, and it can get them, they will develop this part through a certain time in their life when that part had a behaviour that helped them in that part of their life. But then as they grow older, it starts to sabotage them with that same behaviour. Yeah? That probably sounds a bit but it's things you come up against. For me to work with somebody, I have to be inside their head. Like I said,